one thing that's interesting, at least from the conversations I have, so I'm dealing with governments a lot. Governments always ask me the question, well, what's the impact of these DNS threat actors in this particular country? And what I try to explain to them when we do tests, we see that these threat actors, they've not just built it to say, well, we're just going to target one country. They're building global infrastructure and replicating the scams in different countries. This is truly essentially a transnational operation. And one of the techniques, and one that always pops up, are traffic distribution systems. So maybe you can explain what a traffic distribution system is and how these threat actors essentially use them.
You've given me an easy one because I've been talking about this on our booth for 2 days. So yeah, traffic distribution systems on the surface, they're, to really boil it down, they're basically a way of taking a user somewhere else, somewhere that the attacker, the owner of the TDS, the owner of the infrastructure really wants them to go rather than where the user is intending to go in the first place. And when I talk about where they go, I'm talking about after clicking on a link, be that in an ad or in an email or in a social media post, whatever. You think you're going to go to one direction, you're actually going to end up on the landing page, which is completely out of your control. It's actually at the mercy of the TDS. It's at the mercy of the attackers. And they do this through huge numbers of redirections using the information that's provided by the user, perhaps unknowingly, in the HTTP GET request, amongst other things. And they're profiling that user so that they will best fit whatever scam or threat or malware it might be that the attacker feels gives them the best possible return, the best effect for that user. So it's really a bit of a game changer, but it's a really misunderstood part of the modern cyber landscape.
But I think one of the things that go back to the fact that they're able to operate in plain sight. So as they bounce through all these different DNS domains, a lot of them are not hosting malicious content. So people just go, oh, it's just advertising. Because traffic distribution systems have been used by marketing teams for years. I mean, that's how they provide personalized content to you. They go, well, this is your language, this is your location, this is like what's in your cookies. So we kind of know what you like. And I think the threat actors have basically said, well, that sounds like a great idea. How about we do the same thing? So they can operate and look like a regular advertising network.
Yeah.
And they maybe talk about some of the things they do, because obviously as a threat researcher, they're trying to make sure that, they keep you out and the victims in. Can you talk about some of the cloaking that they do?
Yeah, for sure. So there's different sides out of the part of the TDS infrastructure will do the cloaking, but I think cloaking is a bit of an overused term in a way. The TDS is ultimately cloaked. The gubbins, all of the different domains that form the redirection paths are all cloaked from the end user. So they don't know where they're going to go to. But part of it also, part of the profiling that I mentioned earlier on, is it gives them the ability to filter out researchers, it gives filter out law enforcement, filter out sandboxes and bots, which might give the game away and actually show what that infrastructure is that's part of the TDS in the first place. Because one of the great advantages of knowing what that is you can then block those paths or block those domains, and you end up actually, reducing the potential attack surface of large parts of the TDS.
So I think especially the thing I think is very insidious about this is the fact they can be very hyper-personalized. So the success rate is like, don't send me a scam that I'm not really interested in. It's personalized pretty much to me and my preferences. So I think it's not just the cloaking, it's the hyper-personalization. And I guess sometimes the feedback we get from organizations is, and the more cynical types is, look, it's terrible that this woman got her bank account wiped out, or this guy fell for this romance scam, or whatever it is. But what's it got to do with me? Because I'm running an enterprise. Maybe you could talk about what you see in these traffic distribution systems within these networks and kind of the linkage to things like access brokers and kind of the broader criminal economy.
Okay, well, you've set me up to use my favorite phrase ever, which is, it's the internet. So the attacks can be anything. The attackers own the infrastructure. They can host on it whatever they want, right? So that could be malware, that could be access brokers, that could be spyware, it could be scams, it could be anything. And then the paths that they lead the traffic down is going to be, as you say, highly tailored towards the profile of the victim. So I think that's the major power behind the TBSs is the ability to filter out those people that they don't want and really just deliver exactly the right threat at the right time. Right, to the right victim. There's no point presenting a scam in a completely different language to the victim country, right? Yeah. They're spoken in the victim country. There's really low possibility or probability of that scam actually working to defraud the victim in that case. And there's obviously plenty of other examples.
I think one of the things that I found interesting, I think in the recent Verizon data breach report, they highlighted how frequently ransomware attacks actually start with essentially what you regard as a consumer or like a personal scam. So if you see on the dark web, you see a lot of basically ransomware campaigns for sale, and they're targeting organizations that you wouldn't wake up in the morning going, I'm going to target Billy Bob the Butcher because, it's too small. But what's happened is an employee of that organization has been scammed. The credentials have been stolen or access has been gained. And now that's been sold on to another criminal element who would then actually use that as part of a ransomware campaign. So I think we're increasingly seeing the linkage between the two. And of course, for a lot of organizations, they think, well, my internal users, yeah, sure, they're going to browse the internet. And if they have their bank account wiped out, that's not my problem. Well, it is your problem when those credentials for the corporate also get sold on and suddenly become an open back door into the environment.